Evolutionary.org, Underground Supplements, episode 11. Today we're going to talk about why N2Guard works for organ and liver support. And, we're going to do a comparison between N2Guard and a competing supplement that's out there. We're going to show you the difference between the two. We're going to talk about N2BM, the company. They're the ones that create N2Guard. We're going to talk about on cycle, what happens on cycle when you use steroids. We're going to bring you the facts. This isn't a podcast where we're trying to scare you. We're just going to tell you the facts, what happens when you run anabolic steroids, because it has effects on your body, has effects on your organs. So it's very, very important to know this. We're going to talk about N2Guard, what's in it, and then we're going to compare a competitor, Lift 52, which is one of the more well-known and popular support supplements out there that is pushed a lot out there. And we're going to compare the two and let you make the decision on what makes more sense. So we're going to show you how much better N2Guard is and why N2Guard is a superior product. So look, let's first talk about N2BM a little bit. Needtobuildmuscle.com is the website. Look, they've been around a long time. I would say about 15 years they've been around, maybe even longer. They started producing supplements which was geared specifically for steroid users, guys who cycled steroids. But it doesn't mean you have to use steroids to use their products. But the people who started the company, that was what they had in mind, because they themselves were steroid users. They themselves noticed that there was a market out there for a supplement company that specifically catered to steroid users, because a lot of these supplements out there, let's talk bluntly about this, officer. A lot of them out there, they cater to old people. They cater to just normal Joes who just want to be mid in life. They want to be average in life. Look, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're a person who just wants to be average and look average, you want to go to the beach, take your shirt off and look average, hey, there's plenty of supplement companies out there for you. You can go buy one of these cheap protein powders and a cheap creatine from one of these other companies, and you're golden. But if you want to look amazing and you want to use performance-enhancing drugs and you want to use the top supplements that are out there, that was the niche that N2BM came up for. And believe me, like, the market is much smaller for guys like us. We're the top 1%. We're the top 5% out there. You walk into the gym, our workouts, we're the top guys in the workouts. We're the beasts in the gym. Yep. So there's less of a market for us because we're the minority, but they still wanted to come up with this company to cater to that minority. And look, N2BM to this day, they've sold protein powder before. They've sold, some of these other supplements out there, weight gainers and stuff like that. They've come up with stuff like that. But look, the owner at the time, he even told me straight up, he's like, Steve, look, we don't sell protein powder anymore because when we sell them, nobody buys them. And when we don't sell them, we get emails here and there, when are you going to get protein powder in stock? So it's one of those things where the guys who are like Mobster and me at the top level, we're not worried about our protein powder. We're worried about getting support supplements that are going to help us on cycle and help us on PCT. And that's why N2BM was created. Go ahead, Mobster.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to mention the name of a product that they produced before, but I'd love to see them produce again. And to me, it was the best joint product that had ever been produced, because I tried products with the base ingredients in and got some success from those base ingredients because they work, right? And then N2BM put them together in such a way with a couple of additional ingredients, which also might help your joints. And it was the finest joint product I've ever used, Steve. So here's the thing, as well, Steve just said as well, it's very true, right? Not to big us up, although it bigs us up a little tiny bit. And I actually did a comparison about this recently on my Facebook page, where I found, and I'd seen a few of these, Steve, the percentage of people in the gym that can bench 2 plates in the world, the percentage that can bench 3, the percentage that can bench 4. And I think the gist of the benching 2 plates things was something along the lines of Do you realize that you're 0.1%, blah, 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 of the population of the planet? That even in a gym, you're in the kind of 1% of the members of a gym can bench 2 plates or more. And then when you get to a certain age, like my age, the percentage of people of my age that can bench 4 plates is like 1 in 8,000, Steve. Right? So the percentages are crazy. And N2BM are producing products for that percent. They're producing for the guys that want to bench 2 plates, 3 plates, 4 plates. They're producing products for those of you that are going to do cycles and they want to turn into, as Steve said, euphemistically, beast. They want to be an extreme example. It doesn't matter if me and you do BMX riding, Steve, or jet boat things or whatever else, right? It's one thing to take your boat up and down the river doing 15 miles an hour. It's something else to drive a boat that does 200 miles an hour. And the number of people that are doing that is tiny. And the number of companies that are producing boats for those people is tiny. Same thing with N2BM. The percentage of companies that are out there producing, and I can think of maybe 3, 4 in the world, and there's only one here in the United Kingdom, Steve, now, that are producing products for that percentage only. Now, they have the added advantage from a marketing point of view that the users, that 1%, they're going to see the best benefits by pushing their goddamn bodies to the absolute nth degree to be that tiny fractional 1 in 8,000 is quite a small audience, but the selling is great from a marketing perspective because other people like to imagine that they could be beasts too. So there is that. But here's the thing, right? We're going to talk about today a product which really, and we're talking about the Live 52 in comparison, is a mum and pop product. It's aimed at the great percentage, aimed at the other 99% of users, Steve. It's aimed really at old people that want to stay healthy. Oh, fine. Perfectly admirable aim. Why the fuck shouldn't you be healthy in your old age? That's great. But I don't just want to be an old, healthy motherfucker. I want to be an old, healthy, strong motherfucker doing fucked up shit that only 1 in 8,000 people can do. You know what I mean? So N2BM is supporting me with my aims, with my desires, with my wanting to be a crazy, strong motherfucker with 1 in 8,000. That basically means on the planet, Steve, there's like maybe, what is it, 1,000 of me, 1,000,000 of me, and the whole fucking planet doing what I'm capable of doing. And that's the audience, that's the market, that's the customer base that N2BM is serving. So there's that. I mean, the thing is that, again, I could look at other products that they still produce, and again, the products that they produced in the past, I'd like to see again. And you can do this right across the board. Creatine products, fish oil products, other products they produce, other products they stock. They're all aimed at that fractional percentage. Something I said to Steve in the pre-show, and not to take anything away from the bosses of N2BM, I don't think they really seriously give a fuck about becoming millionaires and making 6, 7, 8-figure incomes from producing supplements like some companies do. I think they just genuinely went out of their way, and we've talked about this on other shows, to produce the product. Literally, that they could turn around and say, do you know what? If it's really that fucking good, people will search this product out and they will come and get it. And if we make a few $1,000, we've made a few $1,000. If we make 10,000, great. If we make 100,000, great. But we're not necessarily trying to pay the down payment on the next Corvette or Rolls Royce or whatever else. We just want a really solid product. And what's really good, Steve, and I think you've actually mentioned this on other shows, is that the owners of the company were the kind of oomph degree 1 in 8,000 kind of personality types themselves. And that's the reason why they kind of put this stuff together. They wanted a product that they couldn't find elsewhere for themselves that allowed them to be beasts themselves. So they weren't, like I said, looking to chase a buck. They weren't looking to make their next 8-figure income. They were looking to produce a fucking solid product that allows them to do crazy, crazy fucked up shit.
So let's get into the next segment, and we're going to talk about, look, there's basically, you've got, I'm going to give you the top 8 internal organs, and I'm going to tell you on each what anabolic steroids does to each. And this is just the facts. I mean, you guys can go get blood work done and you can look at this and it's going to show you what it does. Let's start with the brain. And the brain, it's a control center of the nervous system and it's located in our skull. And there's been studies on especially certain anabolic steroids like Tren, the effects it has on the brain. It can definitely, I have no doubt in my mind, when you abuse something like tren over time or any other harsh steroid, it's going to definitely have an effect on the brain over time. It's going to affect a lot of things in the brain. Tren itself in the short term affects your dopamine. It fires off dopamine. It causes prolactin levels to get out of whack. That has an effect on neurotransmitters in the brain. So it has an effect on how you think. That's why tren is a relationship killer. Now, N2Guard has ingredients to help the brain. Now, N2Guard, it's not a miracle supplement. It's not going, you're not going to take tren, for example, and then take N2Guard and it's not going to kill your relationship. N2Guard is not going to help your relationship. Okay. That's not what it's all about. But what N2Guard does contain is ingredients and supplements within its 44 ingredients that does help the brain. And we're going to go over these ingredients on the next supplement. I'm going to kind of go over some of these ingredients specifically that are in it to help the brain, but there's at least 5 or 6 different ingredients that it contains to help the brains. Another one, the liver. And we all agree, no matter what, you could be the most biased pro anabolic steroid person in the world. And even you will admit that anabolic steroids have an effect on the liver. In fact, you can go get blood work done in the middle of a cycle and you'll see that your AST and your ALT levels skyrocket. They're well above. In fact, I would venture to say that's normal for you to have levels that are 2 or 3 times above where they should be when you are taking anabolic steroids, especially orals that are liver toxic, but it still happens with injectables, especially when you're stacking injectables. So N2Guard has ingredients to help with the liver. You know, it doesn't just have the normal milk thistle that these other companies have. It has things like TUDCA as well. And TUDCA is one of the best for the liver. Same thing with the kidneys. When you use anabolic steroids, your kidneys have to do more work. They have to filter more. They get strained. The more you use steroids, the more you abuse steroids, the more your kidneys get strained. We see bodybuilders who are in their 50s and 60s who've been abusing steroids since they were teenagers or in their 20s. I'm talking abusing steroids. They end up with they end up with kidney problems and they're unable to function. So they have to do things, either take kidney medication or they have to go do dialysis or something like that because their kidneys don't function well anymore to filter out all the shit out of their body. So N2Guard has ingredients, again, part of the 44 ingredient profile that help with the kidneys. Things like the bladder and the gut health, the stomach. These are also organs. These are internal organs. Intestines, same thing. N2Guard has ingredients in it, like pepperin, for example, which help calm down the stomach. When you use anabolic steroids, it's inflammatory in the gut. And all that inflammation causes a domino effect. So when you use anabolic steroids, I'll use tren again as an example because tren is an intense and harsh steroid. When I personally use tren, I'm good for at least 1 or 2 throw-ups on a tren cycle because tren upsets my stomach. So I have to be very careful what I eat. I'll give you an example. I was on tren and I took a fishing trip, deep sea fishing trip. It was an 8-hour fishing trip. I expected to go there and catch red snapper. Instead, I caught 7 hours of throwing up. And I was pissing out brown urine and black urine. It was that bad. So tren really messes with your stomach. So if you're going to go do something on tren, like go on a vacation, something that's stressful, go on an airplane, which is stressful, go on a deep sea fishing trip, which is stressful on the body as it is. Now you add tren to the mix, it's going to mess up your gut even more. This is why people who have Crohn's disease or IBS, you can talk to them about this, Mobster. If you have relatives, like friends, whenever they take a vacation, they go into a stressful environment. They're around different people. They're on an airplane. They're in a hotel. You know what I'm saying? They end up with worse side effects from their condition because it's a stressful situation. So N2Guard has ingredients to calm the stomach that are anti-inflammatory in the stomach to help with that. So that makes your cycle even better. So I mean, look, those are the main ingredients that N2Guard has. Also, the bladder has ingredients to help with the bladder, keep your urine flowing good. So really, it helps with your organs. And we're going to go over in the next segment the ingredients, but I wanted to give a mobster a chance to talk more about what happens on cycle when you use anabolic steroids. And then I'll jump in with a couple more things.
Yeah, so you're going to be taking forms of testosterone at a much higher level than occurs in nature ever, Steve, as you know. Right? And a great example of this is the indication, because obviously N2Guard is an organ protector. The indication of the toxicity of steroids would be, as an example, would be sometimes, Steve, the terrible skin. And you and I have done a podcast on an up and coming young lad called Sam Sulek in a previous show. And a couple of the photographs that people use to indicate when they're doing podcasts and videos about Sam is the photographs that he himself has displayed with horrendously bad skin on his chest and on his fucking shoulders and stuff. And when he does a real outspread. So we know, for example, that I've never had this particular issue, but some people have issues with. And it's not necessarily that the steroid specifically affects the skin, although that is also the case. But it's also, as we know, that the reason why people get bad skin is because of poor diets and poor health. And specifically, as in this example, poor organ health. It's literally the body trying to get rid of the fucking toxins that you've given to the body through the products that you're using, through training your ass off in the gym. I mean, here's the thing, right? And we touched on this when we talked about hardcore training and being it as 1 in 8,000. I've tried to describe to people that in order to be a world record breaker, to be 1 in 8,000, you are trying to push your body with the help of steroids to a place that your body does not want to go. And your body pushes back. So that means aching joints, soft tissue issues, and so on and so forth. And then we're throwing, and let's be quite clear about this, because me and Steve have talked about this before, toxic drugs. It's not fucking funny about, guys. If you're using TRT dose, you could say it's less toxic. But toxic doses of drugs at your body, it's like putting the most powerful, potent fuel into the car that you're driving to go much faster than possibly normal. As an example, again, and Steve just reminded me, and this is probably one of the other super important organs, Steve, of course, heart health. Heart health. Just now, I'm struggling with the after effects of pneumonia, and that means that my breathing's hard, my body's stressing to try and get rid of the toxins of pneumonia, the bacteria, the viruses, etc. And it means my heart, as I'm breathing harder, means my heart's working harder. If I go to the gym and I get under some crazy fucking weight, Steve, and I'm using steroids, and even worse, if I'm a competing bodybuilder, I'm cutting my calories back to the minimum. I'm trying to do a great deal of something incredibly special on the least amount of fuel that I possibly can, while at the same time giving it toxic drugs in order to make that happen on minimal fuel with great effort, and so on and so forth. There are arguments to be made, Steve, that especially when it comes to athletes. I've seen conversations and the theoretical arguments that the heart becomes scarred, the heart becomes hardened, the arteries going into the heart become hardened, and they're doing that because you are, again, stressing your motors, stressing your engine, and in that case, stressing your organs to the nth degree in order to do crazy fucked up shit. I've actually said this, Steve, just for myself. I said the risk factor for injury for myself when I'm at world record territory is higher than the person next to me, the person behind me, the person further down the totem pole, because I'm in a place that my body, and indeed no one else's body, has ever been before. And this is a thing that is sometimes difficult for people to get their heads around. The reason why we also love lifting and doing the weights and being bodybuilders and whatever else, because we don't want to be normal. We want to do crazy, fucked up shit. And we want to look in a different way or feel a different way or be stronger than anybody else. And in order to make that happen, we have to stress ourselves incredibly hard. We have to force muscles to grow, force them to get stronger. And in order to do that, we are using PEDs, and the risk factor for PEDs can be, and we should know these, and this is why we do other shows, of course, Steve, the information about the potential for side effects. So what do? I use this analogy as like an insurance policy, Steve. We do our damnedest with products like N2Guard to minimize, mitigate as much of the stress as we possibly can. There's no such thing as a truly healthy medium to high dose steroid cycle. The risk factors while you're on, and you try to minimize the fix out while you're on, and then obviously even better, recover and get your body back down, your numbers back down, your blood markers back down to where they should be in range as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, and for as long as possible post-cycle. So these are the reasons why N2Guard, products like N2Guard are produced, why we look at them, why we think it's a big deal and why we're going to talk about the ingredients today. Now, Steve said something else earlier in the show, and I 100% agree with the comment. I want you, the listener, not just to take it at face value when Steve and I talk about these things. Steroids do this, N2Guard ingredients do that, Live 52 is shit. Don't just take it at value for us. Don't just agree and nod and say, yeah, the guys know what they're talking about. Go away and check. We could do a show where we could talk complete and utter shit and bang the drum about how great a product is, and you guys could be, oh yeah, but you're doing this and you're doing this. Check what we say. If I say that ingredient X does this, check that ingredient X does this. Then look at the other ingredients that we talk about. Do those other ingredients agree with what we're going to talk about in the show today? Do they benefit you the way that we say that they benefit you? Some of the ingredients are from medieval times. Some of them are from the 16, 17, 1800s. Some of them are more recent. And all of them, some of them are historical in terms of they've always had this great reputation by the tribe, by the country, by the place where they were grown, and all this kind of stuff. And it can feel a bit weird sometimes in 2024 as we record this show to talk about something that was discovered in a forest in the Amazon, and the natives that lived nearby had great skin or great health or never had any liver issues or kidney issues. And it sounds a bit fucked up. It's become almost mystical and kind of like some sort of marketing bullshit. I want you to check what we are saying on this show and prove to yourself, not just because we said it and not just because we like N2BM, but because you've done your own research, your own independent research to prove that what we're saying is correct. And you can say, I've checked for myself, the information was sound, the theory is valid. I think it's a fucking solid product because it's got these products and ingredients in. Back to you, Steve.
One of the things very, very important, is heart health. And that's one of those things that you can just check. You can get a blood pressure monitor right at home and check. A lot of gyms, I don't know if your gyms in Britain have this, Mobster, but a lot of gyms have a blood pressure
They're
check.
cheap now, Steve. For listeners, just as a side of thing, you can buy a blood pressure cuff or monitor and have it connect to your phone now, Steve. Lidl's will sell them every so often. They are cheap as chips to buy, and it's well worth having one in the house with your first aid kit, and especially for us athletes to keep an eye on our health. So yeah, I mean, they're like $20-$30 now, Steve. Usually be hundreds.
Yeah. I mean, it is subject to user error when you're doing it at home, and it is subject, they don't get recalibrated or whatever, but you get my idea. And also these, Apple Watches can track your heart rate and stuff. So you'll notice when you use anabolic steroids, your heart rate is elevated. I mean, there's more blood. The blood's thickening when you're anabolic steroids. Your red blood cell count goes up. That's the idea behind anabolic steroids, to raise red blood cell count. So it is going to strain your heart, guys. I mean, look, as much as, we want to just sit here and tell you that steroids don't come with side effects and steroids are safe and you should just walk into the grocery store in the condom section and grab whatever steroids you want. Look, at the bottom line, these are very powerful hormones. All right. And look, this is black and white stuff. Pre-cycle, mid-cycle, okay? You're going to notice your blood pressure higher, your red blood cell count higher. Your cholesterol is going to be off. These are standard things. So it's very important to run a support supplement that has ingredients to help not just your heart, but also the other organs we talked about in this podcast. And N2Guard has you covered. I'm just going to go over some of the benefits, Mobster, and I'm going to go over some individual ingredients. So the top 10 benefits of N2Guard, and there's many, but the top 10 are: increases immune system, boosts kidney function, detoxes the liver, helps with heart health, provides source of essential vitamins and minerals, increases energy and vitality, balances hormones, including estrogen and testosterone, repairs and grows healthier cells, helps absorption, and it's a great digestive aid as well. So these are all very important things that you can use on cycle to your benefit, and it will make your cycle better. So let's talk a little bit of the ingredients. First of all, if you're taking a multivitamin right now and you buy N2Guard, you can drop the multivitamin because N2Guard has you covered. It's got a whole line of vitamins and minerals thiamine, folate, magnesium, zinc, selenium, calcium, iodine, vitamin A, riboflavin, vitamin B6, vitamin B12, vitamin C, vitamin D. I mean, look, I mean, no need to spend 20, 30 bucks on a crappy multivitamin anymore. Just get on N2Guard because it's got a multivitamin built in already. You're good. Vitamins and minerals, you good. Mobster mentioned on the pre-show one of his favorite for heart health, and I just talked about heart health, hawthorn berry. This is a great antioxidant. Turmeric root is another one, not only as an antioxidant, but it's also great for inflammation. We use anabolic steroids, it's going to cause inflammation. And you'll notice it's going to help you with your joints, it's going to help you with other things. Taurine, here's another one. Pumps. When you get pumps on cycle, a lot of people like to get pumps on cycle, me included, Mobster included. But when they become crippling, where they're actually negatively counterproductive to your workout, that's a problem. When they're negatively impacting your cardio, that's a problem. So you're covered. It's got taurine in it. It's got things like garlic fruit extract, which is another great antioxidant. I mentioned the brain earlier, Mobster. Heart health and the brain. That's what garlic fruit extract is really good for. Go ahead.
Yeah, listeners, I'm going to cover some of the specific benefits. Let me just do one right now, Steve. Right. So, and I mentioned this on another show that we did, and Steve's already mentioned this. So I'm going to give you a little bit more in-depth information. And again, go away and verify what I'm saying for yourselves. Right. So the hawthorn fruit, specifically the berry, and I've made a point of mentioning on the previous shows that the source of the ingredient is as important as the ingredient. Where does it come from? Root, stem, leaf, fruit, seed, and so on. And then there's an extract, is it not? And so there's sometimes you want it to be an extract, sometimes you don't. So for example, and I'm stating this is just from a little bit of pre-show research, that the hawthorn berry is used to protect against heart disease, like Steve says, and help control high blood pressure and high cholesterol, which are all obviously great benefits. Both animal and human studies suggest hawthorn increases coronary artery blood flow, which means it's going bad. That's decreased blood pressure right there, Steve, as you can imagine. Improves circulation, lowers blood pressure, which is what we just said, and has also been used on the skin to treat boils and skin sores. And I actually did a bit of research specifically with the idea of producing an article for a local community group that I'm associated with, the Kumbak Wetlands, and we have a lot of hawthorn berries growing by the path, by the ponds, by the wetlands, Steve. And so I said we should do an article for the benefit of the Facebook group that I'm with, and say, listen, here's a natural foraging things that are available to you. And they were using this stuff for medical benefits, specifically heart benefits, Steve, in medieval times. So that's like, I think 400, 600 years ago. So, and it's, like I said previously, that some of the ingredients here come from history. They're not modern inventions, modern discoveries or whatever else, that people have been using it for medical benefits, health benefits for centuries. And of course, what are we doing when we strain in the gym? We have to be straining our hearts. Christ, we almost want to be, Steve. As I said, you have to force a reaction on your body. When I get underneath, let's imagine, I doubt very much I'll be doing this tomorrow, I'm still recovering. But a few weeks ago, I got under 635 kilos on my squatting machine. It's not the same as the weight on a barbell, business, but it's a shitload of weight. It's over half a ton. And I'm standing there with this weight. And you think my heart's not beating like a motherfucker, Steve? Banging like a bass drum inside my chest? Of course it is. My blood pressure through the roof. The photograph of me doing this thing, my fucking neck looks swollen and there's veins on my forehead going up over my scalp. I'm fucking destroying shit. I'm really, really, really fucking myself up to get under that load. And that's just for like 4 reps of 600. It's like 1,350 pounds, Steve, for American listeners. It is fucked up shit. You think my heart's not working double heart? Of course it is. And I weighed, when I did that, well in excess of 300 pounds. So that's a stress on my body. And I'm taking steroids when I was doing that. I think I might have actually been off cycle there, Steve, but certainly being on steroids and doing that load and pressuring my body is going to have an effect. So absolutely, I want something like hawthorn berry, a natural, something from nature. It's not an associated and broken down into specific chemical form. And it's been around for 600 years, for argument's sake, Steve, from the medieval times, like maybe up to 1,000 years ago. for benefiting people since then and now with just heart health alone and great blood pressure and so on and so forth. And it enables me to get underneath that 1,300 plus pounds and do crazy fucked up shit. And it enables me to not hurt myself and damage my body and kick ass. And that's precisely why an ingredient like hawthorn berry, medieval berry, is in there doing its job, doing its work. And here's something else, and I've touched on this in previous shows. And that's why Live 52 is for, like Steve said earlier on, and I've looked at a couple of ingredients while we've been talking. It's for people that just want to be healthy, not people that want to do crazy, fucked up, epic shit. Just people that are walking around and want to feel good when they go to the park and go to the shops and they go for a walk and they're holding their wife's hand. That's what it's for. It's not for people that want to get under 1,300 pounds and do fucked up shit and close their eyes because their eyes are going to pop out of their fucking head like I look like in the photograph, Steve. So let me give you another one, all right? And this is the reason why the formulation, I'm going to touch on that as well, Steve. So Steve mentioned this also, and I'll read this for the listener. Garlic bulb extract. It also lowers blood pressure in hypertensive individuals, regulates serum cholesterol, and stimulates immunity. You are going to be fucking stressing the fuck out of your immune system when you do crazy fucked up shit. You are making demands of your body that's not normally ready to give. So that pushes your immune system, your response to bacteria, viruses, and again, the toxins and steroids. Updated meta-analysis and review in 2020 showed that garlic lowers blood pressure in hypertensive subjects, improves arterial stiffness and gut microbiota. You know, microbiome is actually really, really important things. And Steve and I might do a show on this one day. And that came from a review and also a meta-analysis, which is typically where they've gone on, looked at a bunch of studies and see that they all showed the same thing. Again, this is another reason why I encourage the listener to go and check. So in other words, someone's done that for you. They've gone and looked at a bunch of studies and showed that garlic bulb extract specifically had an effect, beneficial effect, not just on one study, but multiple studies. Now, and I want to talk about the formulation, but we will also talk about other ingredients. So expanding on the formulation, listeners, and this is something that I've kind of touched upon on other shows. I've talked about the difficulty. I would not want to put together a product like N2Guard. I really wouldn't, Steve. It is hard work, seriously hard work. I've touched upon the form of the product that your ingredient comes in. Is it the leaf, the stem, and so on that I mentioned before? Even in the extracts, you want set extracts to be standardized. If in some cases you don't want something that's 10% one time and 50% another time when it needs to be 20% every time. You want it to match the study that proved that that ingredient was worthwhile. So you want the form that was used in the study. So that's just a singular ingredient. Now we're talking about 44 beneficial ingredients. That they all need to show some form of benefit towards hard training, hard dieting, hard steroid using individuals that are going to want a product to protect them as best they possibly can. And that's right across the range of all 44 ingredients. So then you go to, and this is how this works, listener, and I've touched on this before, a industry formulator. There's probably in America 4. Even now, there's only ever been 2, maybe 3, 4 in the past. There's seriously only 4 companies that most of you have never heard of that have the ability to put together these kind of formulations in a scale that's worth talking about. By all means, you could get one tiny little batch made in a lab somewhere, but in order for you to produce it on an industrial scale, you need a big company, a big formulator. You need them to have the buying power to buy specific ingredients like the ones I've mentioned and the ratios and the standardization and so on and so forth from all over the world, barrels in some cases, by the ton in other cases. And you need the people there to be experts in the kind of formulation that you're talking about. So we know, because we've actually discussed this on other shows and we've seen threads in the past, Steve, how fucking difficult that was. It's really, really hard that the product has had to go, no, it's not right. No, that's not working because this goes against that. If you put too much of this in, it negates the effect of this, and we want the positive effects of both products, both ingredients. The form's wrong. You're using the cheap stuff, you need to get the more expensive stuff, and literally back and forth. I know, for example, because Steve and I have talked about this, we've had industry experts in specific ingredients, Steve, as well as the formulation of products, that put their oar into the water too. And they've sat down with the owners of N2BM and specifically said, right, so if I was going to produce an organ protector product, here's the least of the list of ingredients that I would include. And in fact, I'd actually argue, and this is exactly what N2BM did, of course, they wanted, well, these main ingredients is what we would have as a minimum, but we need this to be in there. If you're pushing the body, you need this, at least this amount of vitamins. The reason why the vitamins need to be in there is because the person might be on a restricted diet. That's not always the case, but they might be. If they're on a restricted diet, fish, chicken, and rice, they're not going to be getting the greens and the veggies in. So we need stuff like that. We need to make sure that the absorption of the product's good. It's no good taking these great ingredients, doing a fantastic formulation, and then having uptake be poor, and so on and so forth. So the typical customer, even the listener, doesn't think like that. They don't have to. The company's done it for them, but they must be able to say to themselves that the work's been done. And they must be able to turn around and say, why is this ingredient in there? Why is it in that form? Is it standardized? Does it reflect what was shown in the study? And have N2BM and the formulators that N2BM works with and the industry experts that they worked with done their fucking job? Could they show that the research backed up the reason for having this product in? That's how it works. Now, I've owned a supplement company in the past, and both Steve and I, of course, used supplements for years, decades, in fact. I know just how difficult, and let me just give you an example here, Steve. I went to a flavor house. We spent, I'm going to say, 6 hours at this flavor house, and they were explaining to me that if they made a butterscotch flavoring, which is really nice, it's a pain in the ass to produce. You needed to have 1 in a million particulates of one particular ingredient to give that buttery aftertaste as you swallowed the product. And they said that particular way of producing this particular product was really, really hard to get right. And especially, of course, as people, when it comes to flavor, people can differ in what they like and the strength and so on. So someone else will think it's great, and the next person will think it's crap. And that was just butterscotch, one fucking flavor. I made the mistake of trying multiple mints and peppermints and various other mint type flavors, and was burping and fighting all the way home because I'd taken way too many samples. But it gave me a great indication of how this stuff gets done. And that was just for flavoring. Now, here we're talking about specifically health beneficial ingredients, how they need to be formulated, how they need to be mixed, the ratios. Getting the ratios right. It's no good putting a huge amount of one ingredient in, which is very good for you, and then a minimal amount of something else. This happens all the time in the industry. They'll say that product X contains Y, but they don't tell you that the Y is tiny. Sure, it contains Y, but it's in a useless amount or useless form or useless percentage. So they can put how big it is in the labeling, in the marketing, in the magazine adverts and online, but it's fucking piss poor when you actually look at the research. I'll give you a great example of this, Steve, and I'm thinking joint products again. There are GNC in America and here, and we've got another company which is also part of GNC called Holland & Barrett's, and the supermarkets and local shops that have on the shelf glucosamine products, which is a great ingredient for joint products. The times that I've seen product produced for less than £1, well under $1, and it'll say it's a month's supply, and then you'll go away and look at the research and the study, and you say, well, you're supposed to be using 1,500 milligrams a day. This product's only got 300 milligrams. Well, of course it's under a fucking $1 because it's only 300 milligrams. You need to be taking 5 of these fucking pills, more. You need to be taking way more than they've given in the bottle. It's nowhere near the dose that was used in the study that showed benefits. So it's bullshit. So why the fuck am I using it? And that's the sort of way that you have to look at these products and these ingredients. So when it comes to these kind of ingredients, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you need to know your shit, and you need to know how to put that stuff together, and the formatting and the ratios and the percentages. It is very, very hard. I believe, Steve, we were talking about 2 years. I might be wrong. It seemed to recall 2 years just to put this product together, just to get it to market. And here's how hard it is, guys. They are able to go away and produce, I don't know, 10,000 bottles. And those 10,000 bottles sell very, very quickly. And then sometimes it's a pain in the ass waiting for the formulation company to put together another 10,000 bottles. So keeping stock of a product that's exactly how it should be, it's very, very hard. And it's a great indication sometimes that you need, if you get it in stock, grab yourself 2 or 3 bottles. Don't just grab 1 bottle. let's talk more about the ingredients specifically,
Yeah.
Steve.
Let's go through the rest of these ingredients. Very, very important. Boron amino acid chelate. And notice it's chelated. So that's very, very important when it comes to making a supplement. So this actually helps with testosterone health. So this is why N2Guard is a great option, not just on cycle, but after cycle, during a bridge. Even if you don't cycle, it's a great one because it can help things like testosterone. Coenzyme Q10, very, very important one. Look, this is the #1 heart health supplement that you can put in your body. I think that most holistic doctors would agree on that. So it's very important how it's added. Polycosanol, great for blood circulation and balancing lipid health. So this is another one great for the heart. I talked about how important it was for the heart earlier. Apple pectin, great for digestion and also for the heart. Evening Primuse oil, one of the more popular ones as well. Great for joint pain and arthritis when you're on cycle, you're lifting heavier. Dandelion root extract. This is a very gentle diuretic. It's going to help with water retention on cycle, and that's going to help everything. It's going to cause a domino effect of benefits just for balancing that. Ursa leaf extract. We've heard a lot about this one. This one's really good for your prostate, and it also helps cleanse your organs. Parsley leaf. You know, these herbs are just amazing. I try to add parsley to most of my meals, mops, or most of my salads. It's a natural but gentle diuretic. Also helps with organ health, especially with the kidneys. Go ahead, really quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to jump in here for a second, Steve. We talked about this in the pre-show, listeners, where I said I would jump in and talk about specific ingredients that Steve brought out. So yerba mate leaf, which was similar to what Steve was just talking about, rich in antioxidants and nutrients, which is always going to be useful for when you're on cycle and pushing your body hard. Boost energy and improve mental focus. Steve talked about brain health earlier. May enhance physical performance, which actually means you'll be able to push harder in the gym. May protect against infections. Listen, guys, again, you're suppressing your immune system by training your asses off. You're right there on the cusp of overtraining. And steroids allow you to go even further into that particular place and still recover. But why shouldn't we enhance that? May also help you lose weight and belly fat. I mean, for fuck's sake, Steve, even as a strength athlete, if I can get leaner and have a flatter belly, a leaner belly, well, I'll take that, man, all day long. Lowers blood sugar levels. Listen, this is something that's super important. And Steve talked about this when we're talking about growth hormone use, when we're talking about steroid use, when we're talking about restricted dieting, when we're talking about training in the gym. I have trained to the point after a leg workout where I've had to have something afterwards, Steve, because we've gone straight from the house, straight from the gym, trail walking, and my blood sugar has gone through the floor. So anything that stops my blood sugar dropping through the floor is important, or certainly can levels it off, Steve, so I'm not fucked, and may lower your risk of heart disease. Again, we are asking our bodies, we are stressing our bodies. We want our bodies to do fucked up shit and grow and get bigger and be anabolic and turn us into beasts and monsters or whatever euphemism you like to talk about. So that's just one ingredient. Yerba mate.
Yeah, and yerba mate. Those of you who drink coffee every day and are addicted to coffee, if you want to do the best thing for your health, stop drinking the coffee and switch to yerba mate. Yerba mate is far more healthy and far more beneficial than coffee across the board. So this is just one of the ingredients in N2Guard. Yeah, go ahead really quick, buddy, because we still have a lot of ingredients.
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
it's just came up this morning, right? I don't want to talk about something and then more on the ingredients, actually. I could possibly save this to the end of the show, but I want to do it now. Watch out for fake products. This actually came up. I'm playing catch up on the forums as a result of the illness, and we came across something this morning, and I'll put this in here now almost as a separate thing, Steve, for the benefit of the listeners. One of our members is running a log right now and was talking about using a product which he said was N2Guard, and the capsulation number was 5. And he goes, no, 7. The amount of pills that you're supposed to take, amount of capsules you're supposed to take every day is 7. No, it definitely says 5 on the label. That's a fake fucking product, listener. There's no way. I've been using this product on and off for years. This is how crazy fucked up it is. When companies are copying your product and the ingredients are not right and the recommendations right, there's no way that the product that this person has in front of them should be saying 5 capsules. It should be saying 7. You can take less if you want to. You can take more if you want to. And we'll get into that at the end of the show. But the product recommendation is 7 capsules a day. So we said 100%, whatever you've got in front of you, my friend, doesn't sound right. We want to see pictures. We want to see product description. We want to see ingredient profile, because that doesn't sound right. So that's something else. When we're talking about these ingredients, it's the same thing applies. You shouldn't be using a product where the numbers are wrong, where the ratios are wrong, where the percentages are wrong. It should be what we're saying to you now as we do this show. The information we're giving to you in this show is from today. It's 2024, early 2024 as we record this. It's as up to date as we can make it. So make sure you're using the real deal. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah. And the way you do that is reach out to Mobster and I on the forum and just say, hey, look at this product I found. Is this the right one? We'll tell you exactly where to get it. So let's finish out the ingredients, Mobster. And we're going to talk about Live 52 and compare it. So I'm not even close to being done, by the way. I still have at least like 10 or 12 left. So that tells you how many ingredients there are in this product. So omega-3 fatty acids. This is a great one because it's going to be great for your healthy heart. Good fats are very important for heart health. In America, most of you out there who are in America get 0 good fats a day. So it's very, very important to use N2Guard to supplement it. Astragalus root extract boosts immune health and balances lipids. Again, another great one for the heart and for the immune system. Phosphat, it helps with anxiety and brain health. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, Mobster, about brain health. N2Guard, this is another example of a brain ingredient. Another one that's great for liver, milk thistle seed extract. I mentioned it also at the beginning of the show. That's one of several great liver ingredients, at least 6 or 7 liver ingredients. Red yeast rice, considered one of the best supplements for heart health. L-glutamine can reverse insulin resistance and help boost healthy cells. Indole 3-carbinol. This is one of the few supplements out there, and this comes from vegetables, especially broccoli. This is why I eat a lot of broccoli, Mobster, especially when I eat steak.
Yeah, let me jump in for the listeners again. Milk thistle that Steve's mentioned. Make sure it's the 4-to-1 extract, which is specifically listed on the ingredient thing here. And I'm going to read out to the listeners. Historically, people have been using milk thistle for liver disorders and gallbladder problems. So that means for a very long time. Milk thistle is promoted as a dietary supplement for hepatitis, cirrhosis, jaundice, diabetes, indigestion, and a bunch of other conditions. And then it talks about specifically the amount that you should use per day if you take it in isolation. Milk thistle functions to protect the liver from harm by detoxifying the body. And again, we are, with steroids, arguably using toxins to stress the body. Like I just said earlier on, it's like a potent fuel being added to your car to make your car run faster, run at higher revolutions, run harder, and basically get around the track or up the road that much quicker. So you want anything that's going to help you. I mean, milk thistle is incredibly well known in the bodybuilding community, in steroids specifically used in community as a ingredient which benefits the steroid using and the hard training athlete. And so again, you want to make sure the 4-to-1 ratio extract that I mentioned is in there in that form, because that's the form that you fucking want. You don't want the poor form. You don't want the lower grade form. You don't want the poor percentage form. You want the right form with the right ratio to be used in the product in combination with everything else you're doing to get the maximum benefits. Back to Steve again.
Yeah, and I was going to say Indole 3-carbinol, it's one of the few supplements out there that has been shown in studies to help with cancer. So that's a great one to use. So eat your broccoli. Make sure you cook your broccoli, you steam your broccoli properly, and take your Indole 3-carbinol, which is in N2Guard. Chlorophyll, great for detoxing. Beta-1314 glucan is great for blood sugar and heart health. Another one for heart health. Rosea root extract, great for stress, helps with brain function. I talked about how important it is when you're on cycle when it comes to stress. Bacopa monnieri, great supplement for digestion and gut health. We talked about earlier how important it is on cycle for gut health. This is another one. And then Tutka and Prickolive, great for the kidneys, great for really all your organs. Specifically, Tutka is really good for your liver and your kidneys. Prickolive obviously is good for your liver, one of the best ones. So that adds to the milk thistle. There's just so many ingredients. Carparis, rich in antioxidants. And then black pepper fruit extract. Mobster ranted about that earlier. Very important addition to help with absorption of all these ingredients. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So if you buy all these ingredients and take them, you're not going to get the absorption. So that's why the black pepper fruit extract, the pepperine, was added. And it also is good for your gut health. and it's also good for even fat burning. So it has a lot of benefits on top of it. So look, Mobster, sum it all up, buddy, and we need to get into let's talk about Live 52 and compare what Live 52 has. So talk really quick, and then we'll
Right. So I'll reiterate some of what I've already said, listeners. The number one, you do your own research to go over these ingredients, to see the ratios and percentages, the formulation, and whether it's an extract and where they come from in the plant or where the ingredient was found. Steve's touched upon on another show where we talked about explorers crossing the world, Amazon jungles, tropical islands, mountains of the Himalayas, all this kind of fake, crazy, fucked up, almost mythological kind of shit. That's part of our history, American history, British history, European history. And they come across places with tobacco and potatoes and this kind of stuff. But they would also say, why is his native skin so amazing? But none of them have got fucked up eyesight. None of them are bald. You know, what's going on here? What's this stuff that they're drinking? It's like the coffee bean. What the fuck's this? Well, oh, we've been drinking this for ages. And when you've never had this problem, your teeth are falling out, sailor. What the fuck's the matter with your teeth? Are great, man. We're just eating coconut husk and shit. Whatever, right? So that's how things got discovered. And then obviously scientists sat down and said, what's in this plant? What's in this ingredient? What is it these natives are eating? It's so fucking amazing. And they bring it back to the Queen or back to the president or wherever, and they break this stuff down and isolate it and say, listen, right, so you make sure you get it at this time when the season's good, when it's this high up the mountain, or this kind of soil, and all these kind of things. And fortunately, better people than Stevesmi and ourselves have gone away and worked this stuff out and put it together and said, right, this is what we want, this is the benefits we're looking for, and so on and so forth. And we also have a much, much greater understanding now of the effects of steroids on their body, working out their dosages. We know, for example, you've got pre-existing medical conditions, you need to be more careful. If they're already obese and you take steroids, you'd be better off dieting and then taking steroids, getting leaner, and so on, right? We never understood this stuff in the 70s. We'd hear these stories about people with liver issues, and some of them weren't using crazy amounts, Steve. People use more now, but we know better how to do it now. We know better what works now, and we know better how to look after ourselves now. So even there's probably more people using steroids now than ever before, even though it can sometimes seem bad. And again, there are always going to be crazy motherfuckers doing stupid shit. That's just the way stuff are. There's a huge percentage of steroid using bodybuilders, which is a much bigger number than it's ever been at any time in history. And in reality, people are better able to inform themselves and educate themselves and look after themselves. Now, like Steve said, let's do the hold up that Steve said specifically. Live 52 by reputation, and I'm old enough to remember original formulations, and we had zero choice when I came to the game as a person that started training in 80, and I think it was circa 2000 when 2002, whatever, when I made the choice to use steroids. I've been training for 22 years at that point, but I've done a little bit of pre-research, and the only product was a product called Live 52. Now, I don't think this is the same product, but nevertheless. And I have zero knowledge at that time, and much less internet access than I do now, to seeing what the product was about, to looking at the ingredients, and so on and so forth. And unlike the formulation and the N2BM team that have put together N2Guard, I would have little to no knowledge at that time of what was in there, what was going to benefit me, and so on and so forth. So we're going to hold that up now for the listener in comparison to say, look, what we had then, what we got now, and why it is not even in the same ballpark, Steve.
Look, we're talking 8 ingredients for Live 52, and N2Guard has 44. And the 8 ingredients in Live 52, they're not impressive at all. These are ingredients, like, it's almost like one of those, it's just cheap ingredients here. It's got one of the ingredients in Live 52, Caparis spinosa, that's also an N2Guard. Solanum nigrum, Bandur bashma, Sicorium intibus, Terminali arjuna, Cassia occidentalis, Achillea milliefolium, and Tamarix gallica. Those are the 8 ingredients. So N2Guard either has that already in it or blows each of those ingredients away with superior products to those ingredients. So you have to remember with Live 52, the company that produces Live 52, they're called, it was formulated by a company called Himalaya Wellness Company. So the Himalaya Wellness Company today has over 10,000 employees, N2BM, meanwhile, has less than 10 employees. So do you see the issue here? The issue is that they're going to basically want to sell a product in volume to support all those employees they have, all that overhead they have. So they're going to want to sell the most inferior product possible with the highest margins possible. N2BM has the opposite issue. They can sell the most superior products and make the least margins possible because they don't have that overhead. They don't have offices. They don't have a CEO in a suit in a $10,000 suit and tie that sits on his ass all day watching business news and goes golfing all day. Okay, N2BM doesn't have that. People who run N2BM, their jobs are dealing with customers, shipping the products. That's it. Formulating the products. That's what they can focus on. They're not focused on cutting costs and firing employees to make shareholders happy and all this stuff. So we're talking, it's completely apples and oranges when it comes to the products. And look, you can compare the reviews. I'm going to read some of these reviews from Live 52. One guy said this product is not good and could cause rash and digestive problems. Another guy says this product is not for what it said. You can have serious problem with your health if you take it. Another person said Live 52 did nothing for me. My liver numbers did not improve on it. So the bottom line is these people that are posting these reviews, they're noticing what Mobster and I have been telling you is that this product will be okay. It'll be a mediocre product and okay for grandma. Okay. Grandma has some liver problems. Grandma's on a bunch of medications. They strain her liver. She has to take an aspirin. She has to take a Tylenol. Let her take Live 52. That will be okay for her. But N2Guard will be far better. Go ahead.
To interrupt, right? So we occasionally get this on the forums. A member will come on and said, "Oh, I've been to the doctor, Steve, and my liver numbers could be better. What do you guys suggest?" And you go, I'm an arsehole sometimes, Steve. I'll say, well, change your fucking lifestyle, motherfucker. If you're smoking and drinking too much, stop that shit. Don't be giving me none of that it's in their family genes bullshit, because you're on a fucking a hardcore forum, which is supposed to be about training your ass off and eating right. So make sure you're training your ass off and you eat right. Fix your lifestyle. Don't be eating junk food. Don't be killing yourself at work and not eating all day. Hydrate better and so on, right? So that's number one. Number two would be like a product like N2Guard. I want you to fix the first shit before we give you an A like N2Guard to help you. So here's the thing, right? I think the Live 52 product is exactly like Steve said. It's for grandma. It's for that listener that I've mentioned, sorry, Melissa, the member of the forum, that just wants something that's an easy fix and they don't want to have to make no lifestyle changes. You listeners are not those people. Most of our forum members are not those people. You are training hard. You are sweating hard when you train. You are pumping your shit. You are moving the weight around. You are coming on, showing us photographs of the food that you eat. And it's good, clean food, Steve. It's the kind of organic stuff that we like. It's leafy vegetables and good fish and good clean chicken and lean minced beef and so on and so forth. It ain't junk. You're not posting pictures of fucking ice cream and burgers and fries. None of you motherfuckers are doing that, right? So it's not for those people. It's not for the people that I can walk outside this building right now and grab people randomly in the street and say, "What's your diet like, motherfucker? Do you train?" "Oh, well, I try not to. I try to walk." No. How about you get steps every single fucking day? The people that should be using Live 52 are the people that you see at bus stops, Steve, or in the supermarket, or moaning about shit on the TV and the news. It's not us hard training motherfuckers. Listen, the Live 52 is great for those other people. I don't want to be those other people. I don't want to be average. I want to be crazy strong, crazy lean, crazy muscular. I want to be strong like a bull, as they say. And if I use steroids to do that, I want to make sure that I minimize the potential for side effects. I maximize the benefits of training and recovery. And I want to be of good skin and clear eyes. And when I get my blood test done, when I go to see the doctor, and I've even said this just to finish off the show, Steve, I've been well over 300 pounds now for a long ass time, certainly since I've been up here in the valleys of South Wales. And I'm at that age now, Steve, where I go and get those tests, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, and so on. And the older I get, the more frequent those tests are. My numbers are always fucking good. A great blood pressure numbers, certainly well within range. Heart rate is where it's supposed to be. The only thing that stands me out, and it's because I train and think, fuck it, actually, in my perverse way, it's been good for me. My body mass index is kind of high because I'm a big motherfucker. But they say that we can see your forearms and your biceps or whatever, and they can see that I'm a big, strong, muscular motherfucker. So that's the only downside on the measures for me. Even my lipids, Steve, with a little pinprick blood test, come back good. And products like N2Guard keep me in that place. So when I'm pushing hard in the gym, when I'm taking my steroids from other approved sources like N2BM, I'm able to kick ass and still get great results as we want them to. Let us know your feedback, post comments, let us know how you've come and used the products. Argue with us about the various ingredients if you must, because we want that kind of feedback, that back and forth with you, the listener. Please note, we are not doctors and the opinions are ours. It is our view and based on our experience and views on the topic. And podcasts are for informational purposes and entertainment only. The freedom of speech and the First Amendment applies.